movements we saw with the women.
And this is another fast one. It's one legless rope climb, 10 overhead squats at 135 pounds for these guys, which they can move quickly. And then we've got a cyclone bag carry, and it's 75 feet at 200 pounds.
Keys to the event.
The keys are simple. They have to be deadly accurate. Hand over hand on the rope climbs, fast descend, perfect depth on the squats. Get low enough, stand tall enough, make them count. And then, of course, you got to hit the transitions with as much focus as you can. That's the fourth and hidden element of this test.
Scott Tetlow, Jack Farlow, Tim Paulson, Jorge Fernandez, and Lazar Jukic will be the first 5 men out. Same story with the men as it was with the women. The top 5 men in the overall standings get a bye into round 2. We are underway. Opening heat for the men in event 6.
Farlow's fast up that rope.
Jack Farlow, the first man to make the touch and the first man to the 135-pound barbell, followed by Jorge Fernandez and Lazar Jukic. Tetlow is getting hit with some no reps there on the left of the screen. He got 2 in a row.
And that's going to be costly. Fernandez first off the bar to the sandbag.
Fernandez in the bag first, followed by Farlow and Jukic. Here comes Paulson. Tetlow just got finished. Farlow drops the bag. Fernandez is in first. Jukic will be second. Paulson cannot catch Farlow. And here comes Tetlow in 5th. A mistake for Jack Farlow may have cost him the event win, as Jorge Fernandez is going to log the fastest time in Heat 1.
You know, there's something I'll say to having the advantage of a lot of team experience, which Jorge does have in droves, is that you're used to maximizing your particular speed and intensity anytime that you can in order to either get your teammates on the field or on the floor, or of course to make sure that you're not the slowest link. So that could be an advantage for him in this particular event.
Jorge Fernandez will take heat number 1 as we take one more look back. And Jack Farlow got off to a great start. He was the first man off the rope and looked like he was going to be able to hold on to the lead until he drops the bag.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, even as we were watching the female, Sean, it's those latter 2 movements that mean the most. It's the 10 overhead squats and then the transition to that bag and getting it over the finish line. And that's where Jorge Fernandez seized the opportunity.
Fernandez had a great pace on that. I don't think Farlow was going to be able to hold him off, but maybe a top 2 finish had Farlow not dropped that cyclone bag. 200 pounds is on the bag for the men. And we are set for the second of these 3 opening heats. There is Cole Sager. He will be out there with Jonakoski, Saxon Panchik, Heinrich Happelainen, and Nick Matthew.
Cole Sager has a pretty fast cycle rate on his squats. This could be something that allows him to have some good success here.
And Sager has put on some pretty good performances in the past in events that feature rope climbs. Sager's had an up and down competition so far. Started with an 11th place in the Texas Trail, then got into the top 10 with a 9th, then a 16th, an 8th, then an 18th. 14th place overall is Sager. You saw Nick Matthew, he's in 15th place overall. Saxon Panchik, 11th place, has 3 finishes of 10th out of 5 events. The 2 Finnish athletes in the field have been joined at the hip. I think they've competed together in every heat so far. Heinrich Happelainen is coming off his best finish of the competition. He took 3rd in the Turtle. Saw Nick Matthew. He has an event win under his belt. He won back attack. 30 seconds before we start.
Happelainen's probably the tallest athlete out there, and that might give him a slight advantage being the first up the rope here. then of course, because of the balance of this test, that's where he could have some trouble on the overhead squats as well.
Apple 6'1". And heat number 2 has begun. And it is Apple, Matthew, and Sager. They all made the touch at about the same time, and all 5 men right to work on the 10 overhead squats at 135 pounds.
Koski with a no rep.
He's still on the lead pace, though. Matthew with the barbell down first, along with Cole Sager, different ends of the field. Here come Hapalainen and Panchik, and now Koski. Nick Matthew ahead of Cole Sager. Matthew is in first. Sager gets across, maybe not. It may have been Hapalainen. Koski's going to beat Panchik across the finish line. We will wait for the official scores, but it was close between Heinrich Hapalainen and Cole Sager. Nick Matthew, though, will get the heat win, as we now have 1 heat remaining in the opening round.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
The equipment team doing a great job all weekend long, getting things reset in a timely fashion, just lugging equipment on and off the field. We thank them for their efforts.
Their preparedness is unmatched. Literally, in our walkthrough day, I watched them take reps after reps of getting things on, getting things off, timing it, knowing exactly what it was going to take to allow this event to have success. It's amazing to watch.
Noah Olson giving the folks at home a wave. It will be Olson, Chandler Smith, Bjorven Gudmundsson, Jason Hopper, and Ricky Garrard in heat number 3. Let's go back and take another look at that heat. And it was really even off the start.
Very even. Matthew had a quick reach at the top and then a very fast descent that allowed him to get to those overhead squats first. A clean run of 10 reps, and they were fast, and it allowed him to make slight work of this bag. What a quick pickup, and immediately into his first step.
Nick Matthew takes the heat, and like I said, it was close behind him between Sager and Hapalainen.
You love to see it. When you come off with an event win like that and you catch stride, you're just like, yeah, let's just keep it moving. I want to roll back and run this back as soon as I can because I'm in the zone right now.
The men of heat number 3 here in the opening round are out on the field. Again, it's Ricky Garrard, Jason Hopper, Bjorven Gudmundsson, Chandler Smith, and Noah Olson.
One thing to watch as we watch the athletes transition from this overhead squat to the bag, regardless of where they're at, is do they pick it up with their feet parallel to one another, or are they picking it up and as they reach it to that braced position, are they in stride walking forward? Danielle Brandon actually did a really great job of that for the females, and of course it allowed her to get that top 2 finish. And I think we saw the same thing there from Nick Matthews, so I'm anxious to watch some of that here take place as we watch these rounds unfold in front of us.
Bjorven Carl Gudmundsson in 6th place. One of the most consistent CrossFit athletes that we have seen over the last 10 years, and there is Chandler Smith. Great to see him back out here in live competition after what happened to him at the Granite Games and the medical issues that he was dealing with that kept him from earning a qualifying spot to the CrossFit Games. Chandler Smith, though, has had 2 finishes outside of the top 10, trying to correct that here in the dual 2. And there is Jason Hopper, the man who started the competition with an event win in the Texas Trail. He is one of 4 athletes who have 300 points. Hopper in 7th place overall coming in. Third and final heat of round 1. 33.87 seconds. That is the top time so far. Ricky Garrard got up there in a hurry along with Hopper and Chandler Smith. Garrard is the first man to work on the overhead squats along with Chandler Smith.
A bit of a stumble from Ricky. Otherwise, he's going to have a pretty fast cycle rate here. Chandler is moving.
Chandler Smith looks to be the first man done with the overhead squats, but it's Noah Olson who gains some ground. Olson first to the bag. Smith is second, followed by Gudmundsson, Garrard, and Hopper. Noah Olson's going to take the heat. Chandler Smith has got to be careful as Bjorgvin Gudmundsson was right there. Hopper's going to beat Garrard across the finish, but Noah Olson with the heat win, looking to move on to round 2.
Just got to do that 6 more times.
Chandler Smith just does hold off Bjorgvin Gudmundsson. Jason Hopper coming in ahead of Ricky Garrard. Top 10 times from round 1 will move on to round number 2. And the top 5 men in the overall standings got a bye directly into round number 2, but a heat win for Noah Olson.
And you've got to finish. We watched Noah come out. He is not the first off the rope, and that is okay. And he probably trusted that in the process of this, knowing if he stayed the course with his overhead squats, it's where he could take the lead, and he makes small work of this big bag and gets it across the finish line very quickly. Great grip and great approach to picking it up and getting it moving.
Noah Olson, 10th place overall. Coming into the event, looking to move on here in the Duel 2. We will